Jack Mason floated through the dark emptiness of space, his boots locked to the surface of the mining station. His breath came in steady puffs inside his helmet as he worked on the broken communication dish. "How's it going out there, Jack?" The voice of his boss, Frank, crackled through his headset. "Almost done. Just need to replace this circuit board," Jack replied, his gloved hands working carefully with the tools. Jack was nobody special. At 32 years old, he fixed things on Deep Space Mining Station 12, orbiting a gas giant in a system far from Earth. The pay was good, the hours were long, and the view was amazing. That was enough for him. As he finished fixing the dish, a flash of light caught his eye. Something glinted in the darkness about 50 meters away, near a cluster of asteroids the station was preparing to mine. "Hey, Frank, I see something strange over there," Jack said. "Probably just ice reflecting the light. Finish up and come back inside." But Jack couldn't ignore it. "I'm going to check it out, won't take long." Using his suit's small thrusters, Jack pushed away from the station and floated toward the mysterious object. As he got closer, he could see it wasn't ice or rock. It was metal or something like metal with a smooth surface that changed colors as he approached. "This isn't normal," Jack whispered to himself. The object was about the size of his hand, shaped like a flattened oval with strange symbols etched into its surface. It didn't look human-made. It didn't look like anything Jack had ever seen before. "Frank, I found something out here. I think it might be alien," Static answered him. "Frank, Station 12, can you hear me?" More static. Jack checked his oxygen levels. Still good for another hour. His communication system seemed to be working, but something was blocking the signal. Carefully, Jack reached out and touched the object. The moment his gloved fingers made contact, the symbols lit up with a bright blue glow. The object seemed to pulse like it was alive. "Whoa!" Jack pulled his hand back, but it was too late. The object floated up and attached itself to his suit, right over his chest. A tingling sensation spread through Jack's body, and for a terrifying moment he couldn't breathe. Then images flashed in his mind. Stars, planets, strange buildings, creatures that weren't human. Jack screamed as knowledge poured into his brain. Languages he'd never heard, technology he couldn't understand, and a sense of terrible danger. Then, as quickly as it started, it stopped. Jack gasped for air, his heart pounding. The object had seemingly melted into his suit, leaving only a faint blue glow over his chest. "What just happened?" he whispered. Suddenly, his communication system came back online, but instead of Frank's voice, he heard alarms blaring from the station. "Jack, get back here now," Frank shouted, panic in his voice. "We've got multiple ships approaching fast. They're not responding to hails." Jack turned back toward the station and saw them. 3 large ships, black against the stars, moving with purpose toward Station 12. They weren't human vessels. Their designs were all wrong, with sharp angles and red lights that reminded Jack of predator eyes in the dark. Knowledge from the strange object surfaced in his mind. "Krell warships," he said, though he had no idea how he knew that name. As Jack watched in horror, beams of energy shot from the lead ship, slicing through one section of the mining station. Explosions bloomed in the silence of space. "Frank, I'm coming." Jack pushed his thrusters to maximum, racing back toward the station as more beams cut through it. "No, stay away," Frank yelled. "They're tearing us apart. Oh God, they're boarding us. They're looking for something. They keep asking about an artifact." Jack looked down at his chest where the object had merged with his suit. Somehow he knew that was what they wanted. "Jack, listen to me." Frank's voice lowered. "There's a maintenance shuttle in Dock 3. It's prepped for emergency evacuations. Get to it, warn Earth." "I'm not leaving you all behind. We're already dead, Jack. Whatever you found out there, they want it badly. Don't let them have it." The communication cut off as another explosion tore through the station's main hub. Jack reached the airlock just as a group of figures emerged from a docked ship on the other side of the station. Even from a distance, he could see they weren't human. They stood nearly 8 feet tall with 4 arms and bodies covered in what looked like armor fused to their skin. Moving as fast as he could, Jack made his way through the damaged station. Bodies of his friends and co-workers floated in the corridors. Some had been shot, others killed by explosive decompression when the hull was breached. No, no, Jack muttered as he passed the body of Linda, who had just shown him pictures of her kids back on Earth last week. The station's AI system, Lily, spoke through the remaining working speakers. Alert, unknown hostile entities have boarded. All personnel evacuate immediately. Jack reached the small computer terminal near Dock 3. Without thinking, he placed his hand on the screen, and suddenly he could see all the station systems in his mind. Somehow the artifact had changed him. Lily, are you still operational? He asked. Yes, Jack Mason, but my systems are failing. Station integrity at 12% and falling. I need to download you. Can I do that? That violates protocol. Lily, there's no one left to follow protocol. I need your help. After a brief pause, the AI responded, Connect a portable data unit to this terminal. Jack found a small drive and plugged it in. As Lily downloaded herself, he heard heavy footsteps approaching. Human, a deep voice called out. Give us the Nexus artifact and your death will be quick. Jack grabbed the drive as soon as the download completed and dove into the maintenance shuttle, just as a blast of energy scorched the wall where he had been standing. His hands flew over the controls, and the shuttle's engines fired up. Jack had never piloted anything bigger than a mining pod before, but somehow he knew exactly what to do. The artifact's knowledge was guiding him. As the shuttle broke away from the dying station, Jack saw the Krell ships turning to follow him. He needed to escape, to warn someone about what had happened, but he knew he couldn't go straight to Earth. These aliens would follow him. Lily, are you there? He asked, plugging the drive into the shuttle's system. I am functional, Jack Mason. What has happened? I don't know exactly, but something found me out there, and now these aliens destroyed the station to get it. Where shall we go? The AI asked. Jack looked at the star map on the shuttle's screen. Somewhere to hide and figure this out. And then we need to find help. As the shuttle jumped to faster-than-light speed, Jack looked back at where Station 12 had been. A bright flash told him the station had exploded completely. Everyone he had worked with for the past 3 years was gone. He placed his hand over the glowing spot on his chest, feeling the power of whatever had chosen him pulsing beneath his fingers. What have I gotten myself into? Jack whispered, as the stars streaked past and the Krell ships followed close behind. 3 weeks had passed since Jack Mason escaped the destruction of Mining Station 12. The small maintenance shuttle was not made for long journeys, but somehow it kept going. Jack sat in the pilot's seat, staring at the stars through the viewport. Jack, you need to sleep, said Lily, the AI's voice coming from the shuttle's speakers. You have been awake for 22 hours. I can't sleep, Jack replied, touching the blue glow on his chest. The artifact was now part of him, fused with his skin. Every time I close my eyes, I see them dying. Everyone on the station. That was not your fault. They came for this thing, Lily, whatever it is. Jack had learned to use some of the artifact's powers. He could touch any machine and understand how it worked. When the shuttle's oxygen system failed 2 days ago, he fixed it without tools, just by placing his hands on it and thinking. We are approaching the trading post, Lily announced. Sensors showed 23 ships docked there, mixed species. No Krell signatures detected. Good. We need supplies, and I need answers. The trading post was an old station built into a large asteroid. All kinds of people came here, miners, traders, and those hiding from someone. Jack docked the shuttle carefully and put on a jacket to hide the glow on his chest. Lily, stay alert. If you detect any Krell ships, warn me immediately. Understood, Jack. Be careful. Jack stepped onto the trading post and was hit by noise and smells. After weeks alone in the shuttle, the crowd of humans and aliens made him nervous. He kept his head down and moved toward the market section. He needed food, water filters, and fuel cells. More than that, he needed information. The artifact had given him knowledge about the Krell, but he didn't understand why they wanted it so badly. As Jack bought supplies from a vendor, he noticed a woman arguing with 3 large men at the end of the market. She was tall with short brown hair and had a pilot's jacket with patches from different space stations. I told you, Boyd, I don't have your money yet, she said to the largest man. The job went bad. Give me another week. No more time, Susan, the man growled. Pay up or we take your ship. Jack watched as the woman, Susan, reached for something under her jacket. The men noticed too, and one grabbed her arm. Without thinking, Jack walked toward them. The artifact pulsed against his chest and he felt power flowing through him. Hey, he called out. Leave her alone. The men turned to look at him. Boyd laughed. Mind your own business, stranger. I'm making it my business, Jack said, surprised by his own confidence. One of the men pulled out a weapon and pointed it at Jack. Walk away while you can. Jack didn't move. Instead, he reached out with his mind the way he had learned to do. With machines, the gun in the man's hand sparked and fell apart. Everyone froze in shock. What the? Boyd started to say, but stopped when alarms began blaring throughout the station. Attention all visitors, a voice announced. Krell vessels approaching. This is not a drill. All ships prepare for emergency departure. Fear shot through Jack. They had found him again. We need to go, he said to Susan, not sure why he was helping her. Now. Who are you? She asked, eyes narrowed with suspicion. Someone the Krell want dead. If you've got a ship, I suggest we use it. Susan looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. This way. They ran through the panicking crowd as people rushed to their ships. Through the large windows, Jack could see 3 Krell warships approaching the station. There's my ship. Susan pointed to a medium-sized vessel with worn paint but powerful-looking engines. The Lucky Star. They rushed inside, and Jack was surprised to see 3 people already there. Who's this? Asked a young man with messy hair and grease-stained clothes. Our new passenger, Danny, Susan replied, jumping into the pilot's seat. He's got Krell problems. Krell? A woman with dark hair and serious eyes looked at Jack. What did you do to anger them? I existed, Jack said. I'm Jack Mason. Thanks for the ride. Maria Alvarez, the serious woman said. That's Danny Peterson, our engineer, and the quiet one is Luke Turner, our medic. The ship rumbled as Susan fired up the engines. Strap in, everyone. This won't be smooth. As they pulled away from the station, Jack saw Krell soldiers boarding. They were searching for him. They're looking for something I found, Jack explained. An artifact. Must be valuable if the Krell want it, Danny commented. Jack touched his chest. It's part of me now. The ship shook as a Krell vessel fired warning shots near them. Susan, Maria called. We've got company. I see them, Susan replied, her hands flying over the controls. Hang on. The Lucky Star dove into an asteroid field. Susan was an incredible pilot, weaving between rocks while the larger Krell ships struggled to follow. Jack, Lily's voice came through his personal communicator. I have detected additional ships approaching. They are not Krell. Design matches Arcturus collective vessels. The Arcturus are here too? Jack said aloud, drawing everyone's attention. How do you know about the Arcturus collective? Luke asked, speaking for the first time. Most humans have never heard of them. Before Jack could answer, the ship rocked violently as something hit them. We're hit, Danny yelled, rushing to a panel that was sparking. Engine 3 is down. Jack moved without thinking. He placed his hands on the damaged panel and closed his eyes. He could feel the ship's systems, could understand exactly what was broken. What are you doing? Maria asked, but fell silent as the panel stopped sparking and the lights returned to normal. Engine 3 back online, Susan said in disbelief. How did you do that? Jack opened his eyes. The blue glow from his chest was visible through his shirt now. It's a long story, he said, but right now we need to hide. More ships are coming and they all want what I have. I know a place, Susan said after a moment of consideration. An old mining facility in the Vega Nebula. It's abandoned, but the systems still work. How far? Jack asked. 3 days if we push the engines. Jack nodded. Then let's go, and on the way I'll explain everything. As the Lucky Star jumped to faster-than-light speed, Jack looked at these strangers who had just become his allies. He didn't know if he could trust them, but he had no choice. The artifact, Luke said, looking at Jack's glowing chest. It's changing you, isn't it? Jack nodded slowly. Yes, and I don't know what I'm becoming. Behind them, the trading post grew smaller in the viewport as ships from 4 different alien empires converged on it, all hunting for the human who had found the most powerful object in the galaxy. The lucky star drifted silently through the purple clouds of the Vega Nebula. Inside, Jack sat with Susan and her crew around a small table, explaining everything that had happened since he found the artifact. So this thing just attached itself. To you? Danny asked, pointing at the blue glow visible through Jack's shirt. Yes. And now I can understand technology just by touching it. I know things I never learned, Jack replied. Maria leaned forward. Things like knowing about the Arcturus Collective? Jack nodded. And the Krell, and other empires too. The Helix Ascendancy, the Voidborn Alliance. They're all looking for this artifact. But why? Susan asked. Her opinion of Jack had improved since he fixed their ship. Before Jack could answer, Luke spoke up. Because it's part of the Nexus Protocol. Everyone turned to stare at Luke. The quiet medic rarely spoke, but now his eyes were fixed on Jack's chest. How do you know that name? Jack asked, feeling the artifact pulse in response. Luke sighed. Because I was sent to find it, or someone like you who carries it. You're not just a medic, are you? Susan asked, her hand moving toward her weapon. No, Luke admitted. I work for someone who has been searching for the Nexus Protocol for a very long time. Someone who can help us. Or someone who wants the artifact for themselves, Maria said coldly. Luke shook his head. My employer doesn't want to take it from Jack. He wants to protect it. And now that the 4 great powers know it's been found, we need his help. Who is this employer? Jack asked. He calls himself the archivist. He knows more about the artifact than anyone alive. Danny laughed nervously. This sounds like a trap. It's not, Luke insisted. The archivist has a hidden station called Sanctuary. It's the only place the 4 powers can't find us. Jack felt torn. He didn't fully trust Luke, but the knowledge inside him, put there by the artifact, told him the name Nexus Protocol was important. Lily, Jack called to his AI companion. What do you think? Based on available data, meeting this archivist presents high risk but potentially high reward, Lily replied through Jack's communicator. We have few other options. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. We've got company, Susan shouted, rushing to the cockpit. 3 ships just entered the nebula. Jack followed her and saw the radar screen showing 3 vessels approaching from different directions. Krell? He asked. Susan shook her head. Different signatures. 1 Krell, 1 Arcturus, and 1 I don't recognize. Helix, Jack said, the knowledge coming from somewhere deep inside him. They're working together now. That's impossible, Maria said. These empires have been enemies for centuries. Not when something this important is at stake, Luke replied. Jack, we need to go to Sanctuary, now. Jack made his decision. Give him the coordinates, Luke. Luke input a series of numbers into the navigation system. It's hidden in an asteroid belt around a dead star. The approach is tricky. Susan nodded and fired up the engines. Hold on. The lucky star shot forward deeper into the nebula. The 3 enemy ships followed, gaining on them. They're going to catch us before we reach Sanctuary, Danny said, checking the engine outputs. Jack touched the control panel. Not if we go faster. The blue glow spread from his chest to his hands and into the ship's systems. The engines roared, with new power, pushing everyone back in their seats as the lucky star accelerated to speeds it was never designed to reach. What did you do? Susan asked, struggling to control the enhanced ship. I gave the engines more power, Jack said, surprised by his own abilities. I didn't know I could do that. They raced through the nebula with the enemy ships falling behind. After several tense hours, they approached a massive asteroid belt swirling around a black, dead star. Sanctuary is in there? Danny asked, looking at the dangerous field of rocks. We'll be smashed to pieces. Follow the path, Luke instructed. Look for a green light. Susan carefully navigated the ship through the spinning asteroids. Just when it seemed there was nothing but rocks, a small green light blinked in the distance. There, Maria pointed. As they approached the light, a hidden door opened in what had appeared to be a normal asteroid. Susan guided the ship inside, and the door closed behind them. They had entered a massive space station hidden inside the asteroid. The docking bay was filled with strange ships unlike anything Jack had seen before. "Welcome to Sanctuary," Luke said. An older man with white hair and a neat beard waited for them as they exited the ship. Despite his age, he stood tall and his eyes were sharp and alert. "You must be Jack Mason," the man said. "I'm Alan Bradley. Some call me the archivist." "How do you know my name?" Jack asked. "The same way I know that you carry the Nexus protocol," Bradley replied. "I've been waiting for you for a very long time." Bradley led them through Sanctuary, which was filled with artifacts, books, and strange technology. The walls were covered with symbols similar to those Jack had seen on the artifact before it merged with him. "This place is amazing," Danny said, looking at everything with wide eyes. "It's the largest collection of precursor knowledge in the galaxy," Bradley explained. "The race that created the Nexus protocol." "Who were they?" Jack asked. Bradley stopped at a large door. "The most advanced civilization ever known. They vanished 20,000 years ago, leaving behind only fragments of their technology. The Nexus protocol was their greatest creation." "What does it do?" Susan asked. "It was designed as a failsafe," Bradley said, looking at Jack. "A way to ensure balance in the galaxy. The four great powers have been searching for it since they discovered the first precursor ruins." "Why did it choose me?" Jack asked. "Because of your DNA," Bradley replied. "1 in a billion humans have a genetic marker the precursors engineered into our ancestors. The Nexus can only bond with someone carrying this marker." "That's why the four powers know about Earth," Maria said suddenly. "They've been watching us," Bradley nodded. "For centuries, looking for someone like Jack." He pressed his hand against the door, which opened to reveal a circular room with a pedestal in the center. "The artifact is changing you, Jack," Bradley said. "Soon you'll face a choice that will affect every living being in the galaxy." "What choice?" "Whether to activate the Nexus fully or not. If you do, it will reset the balance of power. No empire will be able to dominate others." "And if I don't?" Jack asked. "Then whoever captures you will use the Nexus to destroy their enemies and rule the galaxy forever." A loud alarm echoed through the station before Bradley could say more. "They've found us," he said grimly. "All four powers. They've tracked your ship somehow." "But this place is hidden," Susan protested. "Nothing stays hidden forever," Bradley replied. "Jack, we need to prepare you. There isn't much time." Jack looked at Susan, Danny, Maria, and back to Bradley. "Prepare me for what?" "For war," the old man said. "The entire galaxy is coming for you, Jack Mason, and you are the only one who can stop them." Alarms blared throughout Sanctuary as Jack, Susan, Danny, and Bradley rushed through the corridors. The hidden station shook as enemy ships fired upon the asteroid that concealed it. "We don't have much time," Bradley said, leading them to a large room filled with screens showing the approaching fleets. "They've brought everything they have." "Where's Maria?" Jack asked, noticing she was missing. Susan looked around. "And Luke? They were right behind us." Bradley's face darkened. "This is not good, we need to." The station rocked violently, throwing them all to the floor. Dust fell from the ceiling as the lights flickered. "Direct hit on the outer shell," announced an automated voice. "Shield integrity at 60%. Jack helped Susan to her feet. "We need to find them and get out of here." "No," Bradley said firmly. "Finding them may be a trap. The Helix Ascendancy is known for placing spies." "Maria isn't a spy," Susan interrupted. "She's been with me for 2 years." Danny looked uncomfortable. "Actually, she's always been secretive about her past." Before they could argue further, a new alarm sounded. "Warning. Boarding detected in Sector 3. Bradley moved to a control panel and pulled up security footage. The screen showed soldiers in 4 different types of armor cutting through a door. All 4 powers, Bradley whispered. They never worked together. Not in 10,000 years of history. Jack felt the artifact pulse in his chest. The blue glow grew brighter, spreading to his arms and neck. Knowledge flowed into his mind. Blueprints of the station, escape routes, weapon systems. There's a hidden hangar on the lower level, Jack said, with a ship faster than anything out there. Bradley stared at him in surprise. How do you know that? The Nexus is showing me. It's trying to keep me safe. Then we go there, Susan decided. But first we find Maria. Jack closed his eyes, letting the Nexus guide him. She's in the East Wing with Luke. They're fighting? The group rushed through the station, following Jack's directions. They found Maria pinned against a wall, Luke holding her at gunpoint. "Luke," Danny shouted, "what are you doing?" Luke didn't take his eyes off Maria. She was sending a message to the Helix fleet. She's their spy. "That's a lie," Maria hissed. "I caught him transmitting our location." Jack stepped forward, the blue glow now visible around his entire body. "Both of you, stop." He placed one hand on Luke and one on Maria. Instantly, images flooded his mind. Memories, secrets, truths. Jack stepped back, shocked. "You're both spies, but for different sides." The station shook again as more enemy fire hit the outer shields. "Luke works for the Arcturus," Jack continued. "And Maria, you work for Earth?" Maria's expression confirmed it. "Earth has known about the alien empires for centuries. We have an agreement. They leave us alone and we watch for signs of the Nexus. And now you've found it," Bradley said bitterly. "I was sent to protect Jack," Maria insisted. "Earth needs the Nexus under our control before the other powers get it." Susan looked betrayed. "All this time, none of this matters now," Jack interrupted. "The station is falling. We need to work together to escape." Luke lowered his weapon. "He's right. We can settle this later." They made their way to the lower levels, fighting through debris as the station continued to shake under enemy fire. Bradley led them to a hidden panel that revealed a narrow passage. "This leads to my special hangar," he explained. As they moved through the passage, Jack's mind filled with more information from the Nexus. He saw the 4 powers fighting over worlds, destroying civilizations in their quest for dominance. He saw the precursors creating the Nexus as a last hope for balance. "There it is," Bradley said as they entered a small hangar containing a sleek ship, unlike any Jack had seen before. "The last precursor vessel. I've kept it functional all these years." "It's beautiful," Susan whispered. As they boarded the ship, a massive explosion rocked the station. Bradley stumbled, falling to his knees. "Bradley!" Jack helped him up, noticing blood spreading across the old man's chest. "Shrapnel," Bradley gasped. "I'm not going to make it, Jack." "Don't say that. We'll get you on the ship." Bradley gripped Jack's arm. "No time. The Nexus chose you for a reason. You must complete the protocol." "I don't know how," Jack said desperately. "The knowledge is already inside you." Bradley pressed something into Jack's hand. A small device with symbols matching the ones on the artifact. "This contains everything I know about the precursors. Take it." Jack took the device. "I can't do this alone." "You're not alone," Bradley said, looking at the others. "But you must make them understand what's at stake." The station shook again, more violently this time. "Go," Bradley urged. "I'll buy you time." Before Jack could argue, Bradley pushed him toward the ship and sealed the hangar door from the outside. "No!" Jack pounded on the door, but it was too late. "We have to go," Susan said, pulling him toward the ship, "or his sacrifice will be for nothing." With a heavy heart, Jack boarded the precursor vessel with Susan, Danny, Maria, and Luke. As soon as they were inside, the ship came alive, responding to Jack's presence. Panels lit up with the same symbols as the artifact. "It recognizes you," Maria said in awe. Jack placed his hands on the controls and the ship powered up. The hangar doors opened automatically, revealing space filled with enemy ships. "There's no way through them," Danny said, looking at the massive fleet blocking their path. "Yes, there is," Jack replied, the Nexus glowing brightly. He closed his eyes and connected fully with the ship. Its advanced weapons activated, firing beams of energy that didn't destroy the enemy vessels but disabled them instead. "What did you do?" Luke asked as they flew past the powerless ships. "I shut down their systems," Jack explained. "Temporarily." As they escaped the battle, Jack felt Bradley's device activate in his pocket. It projected a hologram of the old man. "Jack, if you're seeing this, I'm gone," the hologram said. "But my knowledge remains. The Four Powers don't just want the Nexus, they fear it. When fully activated, it will give all civilizations equal access to precursor technology. No empire will dominate another. That's why they're hunting me," Jack realized. "To prevent that balance. There's more," the hologram continued. "Earth was chosen by the precursors long ago as the guardian world. Your people carry more of the special genetic markers than any other species." Maria nodded. "That's why Earth has been protected by treaty. They've been waiting for someone like you to appear," the hologram flickered. "Jack, you must go to the precursor hub at these coordinates. There, you can activate the Nexus fully. But be warned, the Four Powers will throw everything they have at stopping you." As the coordinates appeared, Jack looked at his companions. They were hurt, tired, and scared, but they were all he had. "We need to make a choice," he said. "Run and hide forever, or stand and fight for balance in the galaxy." Susan took his hand. "I think you already know my answer." One by one, the others nodded, even Luke and Maria. Jack entered the coordinates into the ship's system. "Then let's go change the universe." Behind them, Sanctuary exploded in a ball of fire as Bradley triggered its self-destruct sequence, taking dozens of enemy ships with it. The precursor ship glided through space toward the coordinates Bradley had provided. Jack stood at the viewport watching stars streak by. The blue glow of the Nexus now covered most of his body, pulsing with energy. "How much farther?" Susan asked, joining him. "We'll reach the precursor hub in 6 hours," Jack replied. "How are the others?" "Danny's working on the ship's systems. He says they're unlike anything he's ever seen." Susan hesitated. "Maria and Luke are keeping their distance from each other." Jack nodded. Trust had been broken when they discovered both were spies, but they needed to work together now. "The Four Powers are following us," Jack said. "I can feel them." Susan looked worried. "How many ships?" "All of them. Thousands." Jack turned to her. "They've never united like this before. They're frightened of what the Nexus can do." "And what exactly will it do?" Susan asked. "Bradley said it would create balance, but what does that mean?" Before Jack could answer, Lily's voice came through the ship's communication system. "Jack, I've finished analyzing the data from Bradley's device. You should see this." In the ship's main room, a holographic display showed a star map of the galaxy. Danny, Maria, and Luke gathered around as Lily explained. The precursors built networks throughout the galaxy, communication systems, power sources, knowledge repositories. For millions of years, they maintained peace between younger species. "What happened to them?" Danny asked. "They evolved beyond physical form," Lily replied. "But before leaving, they created the Nexus Protocol as their legacy. When activated at the hub, it will connect all sentient beings in the galaxy to these networks, giving everyone equal access to advanced technology," Maria said. Luke frowned. "The Four Powers built their empires by controlling access to precursor technology. This would end their dominance overnight. That's why they're willing to destroy everything to stop us," Jack realized. "They'd rather burn the galaxy than share power." The ship's alarms suddenly blared. "Multiple vessels exiting faster than light travel," Lily announced. 4,300 ships detected. They rushed to the viewport. The sight took their breath away. Ships of all sizes filled space behind them. Sleek Arcturus vessels, massive Krell warships, the crystalline ships of the Helix, and the black vessels of the Voidborn. "They've cut us off," Susan said. "They're herding us toward that gas giant." Jack could see the massive planet ahead, a swirling ball of orange and red clouds. "They want to trap us there." "What do we do?" Danny asked, fear in his voice. Jack closed his eyes, letting the Nexus guide him. The hub is inside the gas giant. The precursors hid it where no one would look. We're going in there? Luke asked in disbelief. Yes. Jack placed his hands on the ship's controls. But first I need to try something. Jack activated the ship's communication system. His voice echoed out to the entire enemy fleet. This is Jack Mason. I carry the Nexus protocol. I know you want to stop me, but you don't understand what's at stake. The precursors didn't create this to destroy you. They created it to save all of us. The only response was weapons fire. Energy beams shot past their ship, warning shots. They're not listening, Maria said. Then we make our stand at the hub, Jack replied. Susan, take us into the gas giant. Susan piloted the ship toward the massive planet. As they entered the upper atmosphere, storm clouds buffeted them, and lightning flashed all around. The ship can handle this, Jack assured them. Keep going deeper. The enemy fleet followed, their larger ships struggling in the planet's powerful storms. Some turned back, but hundreds pressed on. There, Jack pointed to a massive structure emerging from the clouds. It looked like a city floating in the gas giant's atmosphere, towers and platforms made of the same material as the artifact in Jack's chest. The precursor hub, Luke whispered in awe. Susan guided their ship toward a landing platform. As they touched down, Jack felt the Nexus pull him toward the center of the structure. I need to go to the main control room, Jack said. The Nexus is showing me the way. We'll defend the ship, Maria said, checking her weapon. They'll be right behind us. Jack nodded. Danny, come with me. The hub systems might need work. Susan, you too. The group split up. Jack, Susan, and Danny made their way through corridors that lit up as Jack passed. The entire hub was responding to the Nexus. It's waking up, Jack said. After thousands of years, they reached a central chamber with a pillar of light in the middle. Symbols matching the ones on the artifact covered the walls. This is it, Jack said. The activation point. Danny examined the systems. Everything's still working, it's just been waiting. Outside, they heard weapons fire. Maria's voice came through their communicators. They're here. Multiple boarding parties, we can't hold them long. Hurry, Jack, Susan urged. Jack stepped into the pillar of light. The blue glow from his body intensified, connecting with the energy around him. Images flooded his mind. Stars being born, civilizations rising and falling, the precursors watching over it all. I understand now, Jack said. The Nexus doesn't just share technology, it shares understanding, empathy. A massive explosion shook the hub. Luke's voice came through, panicked. They've breached the main door. Hundreds of troops incoming. Jack looked at Susan. Whatever happens, know that meeting you was worth it. Susan squeezed his hand. Just save the galaxy already. Jack smiled and turned back to the pillar. He raised his arms, and the Nexus energy flowed from his body into the hub systems. The chamber filled with light as the activation began. Jack felt his consciousness expand, connecting to the precursor networks spanning the galaxy. Through them, he could see everything, every world, every being. The doors to the chamber burst open. Soldiers from all four powers rushed in, weapons raised. Behind them came four figures, the commanders of each fleet. Stop, shouted the Krell commander. Deactivate the Nexus, or we'll destroy this entire planet. Jack turned to face them, his body now pure energy, barely human. You're too late, he said, but don't worry, this isn't your end, it's your beginning. The Nexus pulse shot outward from the hub, a wave of energy traveling faster than light. As it touched each being in the galaxy, something remarkable happened. For a brief moment, every sentient mind connected, experiencing the thoughts and feelings of all others. The soldiers in the room lowered their weapons, overcome by the sudden understanding of those they had called enemies. The commanders fell to their knees, experiencing for the first time the fear and hope of those they had conquered. When the pulse faded, Jack stood in the center of the chamber, human once more. The blue glow was gone from his chest. The artifact had completed its purpose. What did you do? Asked the Helix commander in wonder. What the precursors intended, Jack replied. I gave everyone the truth. What you do with it is up to you. In the days that followed, the four great powers withdrew their fleets. The pulse had changed everything. Citizens who had experienced the thoughts of other species demanded peace. Leaders who had felt the suffering they caused could no longer justify war. 1 month later, Jack stood with Susan on the observation deck of the hub, which had become neutral ground for the first Galactic Peace Council. One man against the universe's greatest powers, Susan said, taking his hand. You actually won. Jack shook his head. Nobody won. We all just finally understood each other. In the chamber below, representatives from 100 worlds, including Earth, gathered to build something new. A galaxy where power was balanced, where technology was shared, where understanding replaced fear. Jack smiled. The nexus was gone from his chest, but its legacy would last forever. And for the first time since finding the artifact, he was simply Jack Mason again. That was more than enough.